Welcome to Live, Let, Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Micah and Steve.
Hello, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Live, Let, Thrive, the Stevie Chats edition. This would be Stevie Chats episode like 3, but as far as the show, we're in like episode 289. A lot of episodes, yo. Thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, episode 289 will be your favorite short-term, mid-term, long-term rental podcast in the world, coming at you from Fort Worth, Texas. Today on the Stevie Chat, I'd like to talk about a little thing called being a 9-to-fivepreneur. 9-to-fivepreneur. What is that? We have several guests on the show that still, they were doing their hustles, they were growing their businesses, and yet keeping their 9-to-5 jobs. And a lot of guests that come on were able to quit their jobs. That was their end game, or they started off kind of in the industry and then, working for somebody or partnering with somebody, doing odd jobs for somebody in the real estate realm or short-term rental realm, and then grew from there. So they never had like a W-2 type style job, more like contracting work. But what I'm talking about today, a lot of us get started with a of course, most of us in this whole country or world get started with a 9-to-5 job. Or, I'd say 9-to-5, a day shift, afternoon shift, midnight shift, whatever it is. It's a W-2 job here in the United States. They take taxes out and they do it all for you. It makes it nice and simple, and they take half your paycheck and all that fun stuff. And then, you have a job, you have security, and a lot of people start hitting. I'll say this: they start hating their jobs, or they're just not content there. And that was going way back to my kind of origin story. I had a 9-to-5 job, been there. I guess I was there for like going on 16, 17 years at the same job. And before I started my real estate journey, I had bought a house in probably around 2009, and just a house to live in and all that. I've always thought it was fascinating to have rental houses, and I wanted to have some rental houses. I knew that from early on, but I had no idea how to do it, and it's funny enough. So let's say fast forward from 2009, go to around 2010, 2011. I started, really, really wanted to do this real estate thing. And before I knew there was a term for house hacking, I thought about doing something like that where I jump out of the house where I was living in, turn it into a rental, and then get another house. And that whole time period, I got married. I met my wife in Mexico, Guadalajara, Mexico, and I brought her here. We were staying in that house for a while, my first house over in Arlington, Texas. And I started really, after that, I'll tell you this. At my job, which is a comfortable job, union job, safe, protected. You really didn't have to do a whole lot of work. You didn't have to, like a real job. I'll say that. But we got an a-hole boss come in there, an a-hole boss that was just vindictive, condescending, held grudges. I would say borderline. I would say a little racist, but he started coming in there and really, really, really being an a-hole to everybody. Oh, hey, how y'all doing? Stevie Stacks here from Live, Let, Thrive, and I thought I'd give a quick shout out to my buddy Brian Wynn over at themusecoffee.co. Man, this is some good stuff. Brian's a longtime listener of the show, fellow entrepreneur, and he's been sending us coffee for a while now, and this is some really, really good coffee from the best places on earth, best beans on earth, freshly roasted and sent to your front door in a couple days, and you'll know what I'm talking about. So my buddy Brian Wynn over at the Muse Coffee, hit him up. He'll hook you up. If he knows you're a fan of the show, you put in code LLT, you get an extra 20% off your order. I mean, what do you got to lose, y'all? Help us keep the lights on, help a fellow entrepreneur, and get you some good coffee in the process. Themusecoffee.co. Yo. And I'll say that and I've said it before in the show. An asshole boss is a gift. And this is why I say that. Because before, he got there, I was, like I said, in a comfortable spot. I didn't really like my job too much. One thing I didn't like about it was a lot of negativity in the air in this particular job. People complaining all the time. Anytime they had to do any little shred of work, they complain, and they were saying we should get paid more. I mean, for what? Anyways, that being said, it was a comfortable job that paid well, but yet people complained and complained every single day, and that really dragged me down. But then, a whole boss arrives and made it even worse, compounded things. And so that really, really motivated me to get started on my real estate journey. And I told my wife, I said, listen, I know you love this house. She came from Mexico. And getting to the United States is like, wow, this is a dream world. Everything's so beautiful, big houses and big everything. And I said, but I really want to do this real estate thing. So let's look for a house. And Hurst is where I ended up going. But I said, let's look for a house. We're gonna turn this one into a rental. At first, she was like, "Oh, this is a perfect house. Why do you want to leave?" And I was like, "I just got to. I just got to. I got to do this. I gotta reach this. I want to reach a point where we have rental properties that pay for our life, and I don't have to go to this job anymore, which turned into like a nightmare job like that, you know. And that's one thing is like, yeah, your job may be comfortable now, and you might not want to leave it, and that's fine. This part of being a nine-to-fivepreneur, but all it takes is a changing of the guard. All it takes is inserting an a-hole boss that makes your life miserable every single day that you dread going to work. And so that's what happened to me. And so I said, we're gonna get some rental houses. I looked on Zillow. You know how you look on Zillow for houses, and then there's like agents at the bottom. And I clicked on one, and his name's Kan, is Thai dude, Thai dude, real cool guy. And I told him, listen, this is what I'm looking at this houses here, and then I said, and I also just told him I'm planning to turn this one into a rental house. And he's like, oh, cool. I have like he said he had like 20 rental houses. He's been in the game. He knows how to do the rental thing. He knows how to do fix and flips. He knows how to do all that stuff. So I was like, wow, this is just when you seek and you shall find, right? It just fell into my lap. This was perfect agent for that time period that knew what I was trying to do, and he helped me find a house that he knew would the next house would be also a nice rental house, regular cookie cutter 3-2, about 1,500 square foot. Um, for a decent price, right? And so, because here's the thing, he told me even back then, it was great advice. He goes, a lot of guys your age, he goes, that's cool that you're looking at a house around that price range, 3-2, whatever. A lot of guys your age, they've been in their career, established a little bit, starting a young family. They go straight to the McMansion. They go buy as much house as they can with their salary, right? So they stretch it to the limit. So they go buy their McMansion, 5 bedroom monstrosity, has all the bells and whistles, and they're living paycheck to paycheck to pay for it, right? And I just wanted to stay at a certain level so I could profit from my previous house, the house hack, and also I had a goal for I'm gonna be at this next house for about a year, and I'm gonna jump to the next house, house hack again. And so I did that. We found a house we liked. It went back and forth. Someone else was gonna buy it. Then luckily it fell back into our lap because that other buyer, fell out. And this is how far it was like 2011. So it was like, and we got it for like 135,000 bucks, which is so cheap. And that's 2011 is when everything started kind of turning, everything went down 29, 10, and 2011 started flattening out and then kind of rising back up, right? And so luckily that's when I started my journey and bought that house and turned the previous one into a rental property. And that's a whole nother story that I could tell on another podcast because that one, I mean, it turned into a nightmare later on and I finally got them out. They've been paying, but they kind of ruined my house, but they were there a long time and like 7 years. And so, but anyways, they're gone. House is getting renovated. I still have the first house and I made every mistake in the book, put the wrong people in there. Of course, obviously they walked in with a wad full of cash. I didn't check them. I didn't do background check. All the mistakes you make as a first time landlord. I did that. But I don't regret it because it got me into the game. It got me into the game, and by having such bad experiences from the first ones, it made me stronger, and I was able to do a lot more. I'm better on the next go round, on my next renters. And so that happened, and I got we moved into the next house, and like I said, it was nice little house, love it. I still love that house. It's perfect area, perfect neighborhood. And at that house we had our first baby together, me and Lupita. And so, sentimental, this is where our baby's born and all this stuff. And I told her, in a year we're moving. Yeah. And she said, yeah, I know. So we started looking, and a few months later started looking for the next house. And in the meantime, we love South Padre Island. We were looking over there, but buying a condo in South Padre just never made sense, as an investment property, as a place you want to live. I mean, you want to go there and enjoy for your family. Yeah, that's cool. And then you break even, that's fine. But as far as an investment property, a 3-2 house kicks any, beach condos at ASS anytime. I don't know why I spelled that, but luckily, we didn't get a condo. We got another house. So we went in a nicer part of Arlington. We went and got a nice house, a little bit bigger, paid a little bit more. We were in the 190s range, which is like, to us, was like, wow, it's so expensive. Now those houses are like 400,000. But anyways, um, so we got that house. And then, like I said, I told we're gonna live here for a year, about a year, and we're gonna move. We like that house and everything. Like I said, it was a little bit bigger, a little bit nicer. It wasn't, like I said, a McMansion or nothing. These are still older houses that are, 3-2s, decent size. And it didn't have a garage. That was the only problem that I saw. But it had like backyard parking, which was cool. You could work on your cars and wash your cars and stuff in the backyard. Whatever. Anyways, so sure enough, I think we were there about a year and a few months. But that particular house was the first house that I got into Airbnb. And going back, circling back to the 9-to-fivepreneur, all this time I had a job. I kept a job, right? I didn't quit my job, of course. And I'm still I'm racking up a few properties, but I'm not, the job's helping me to get these houses. And so I'm working a lot of overtime and trying to be a landlord for the first time and all that stuff and trying to raise a young family. So it was a very stressful time in my life, but it was totally worth it. So we got that third house. We were there about a year and a few months, and then we jumped out of that house and got the current house we live in. Like I said, it's a little bit bigger. It's a two-story house, but came with a pool, which I always wanted a pool. It was a dream of mine. It's good to treat yourself a little bit. Like I said, this ain't no McMansion. This ain't no giant, 5,000 square foot house with all the bells and whistles. It's an older house, but it's nice. It's got enough space for us to live comfortably, and it has came with a pool. And still, we were in that zone before the housing market went just ridiculous, and we got this one for like I say 250, which is like it was a massive amount back then, but now it's worth close to 500,000 because of the way the market was. So fortunately enough, we were able to get this house, and we love it here. So and walking distance to the school. So we kind of like, okay, 4 houses, we're good. The 3 houses over there is kind of almost matching what I'm making at work take home. And so we're good. Plus, we started dabbling, like I said, in the second house and third house. We turned them into Airbnbs. Because I've always wanted to do Airbnb also, short-term rentals. Back then it was just Airbnb. That was the only spot to put them on. But of course, well, VRBO and stuff like that. You learn that as you go. Started the podcast at the second house, by the way, with my partner Micah, and in the little bitty house we had there in Hurst. But yeah, so that was another thing. So I had the job, 9 to 5. I say 9 to 5, but I was working double shifts. I was working overtime to get the money for the down payments for the houses and all that. And plus, I wanted to document this. I thought this whole world was fascinating. So I told Micah, let's start a podcast. When I met him at one of those bigger pockets meetups, and he's who's this guy? I just met him. He's crazy. But eventually, we started our podcast, Live Let Thrive, going on yeah, what, 7, 6, 7 years now. Um, and so the podcast, young family, getting these rental houses together. So it was a lot going on. And so after this house, and then I'll fast forward a little bit. The city of Hurst, Texas, banned Airbnb, so I had to turn it into a regular rental. And then the city of Arlington followed suit and banned like 99% of the Airbnbs in the city. Did regulations, air quotes, but pretty much banned like 99% of the Airbnbs. And my house was just outside of the bubble where you could do Airbnb, like a 1 mile radius. And like I said, that was a cash cow, man. As on Airbnb is like making 4 or 5 thousand a month. But, stuff happens. And so, anyways, both of those turned into long-term rentals for me. I have great tenants. I was able to screen better. I mean, they pay on time. They're great. They take care of the houses. Like I said, the first house didn't go so well, but it got me into the game and getting it renovated. And I'm gonna put great tenants in that one, so it's gonna be good. Bumps along the road. There's bumps on the road, but that helps you to become better investor. Better landlord, all that fun stuff. And so let me see, after we got this house, got settled in, that's when a buddy of mine from from the place, the airline I was working at, um, he went ahead and well, he saw what I was doing. He thought it was really cool. And I got him into the industry a little bit, helping out a buddy, like doing some virtual assistant work because he was in Argentina. And then finally he said, "Well, man, let's partner. Let's make our own business together." And we partnered and started Argist Rentals. The my uh, management company, it was our short-term rental management company because of a friend wanted us to manage for her, and so we started getting a couple arbitrages of our own, which is cool. Shout out to Sarah Glidewell. She brought me into the arbitrage world a long time ago and designed a couple arbitrages for me in Dallas that got me into that world. And so, Federico, I partnered with Federico, and then we started getting arbitrages together, and then we started managing other people. And like I said, all this and all along the time, I kept my job. I didn't jump out of my job. I was doing a lot, especially when Federico was over there in Argentina. I was the one going to all the houses, checking everything, making sure everything was hunky dory, and dropping off supplies, dropping off furniture, helping, install furniture, all setting them up. I was all this stuff. Plus, like I said, job, podcast, family, everything. But it was totally worth it. I wouldn't change anything. And so, yo, 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 Stevie Stacks again. One more quick shout out to themusecoffee.co. That's themusecoffee.co. Get you a freshly roasted bag of coffee today. Go to themusecoffee.co, use code LLT, and get you 20% off of a bag of the best coffee you'll ever have in your life. Themusecoffee.co, y'all. So that being said, kept my 9 to 5 the whole time. Got to a point at the 9 to 5 where I was able to, and it's a flexible job. So you're able to give away a lot of your shifts. I would say you're able to give away around 25, 30 days per quarter. So that's like a month per quarter. So you can give away 2 days this week, 2, 3 days next week. And give away about 2 or 3 days a week. So I could only, if I wanted to, I could work there about 2 or 3 days out of the week. And which is what I'm doing right now. I'm giving away most of my shifts, even though it's a nice paying job and all that stuff. I see more value in working on my business, right? And so what is keeping a 9 to 5? And like I said, me and Federico, we were able to grow to 50 property. Actually, we got over 100 properties at one point and started, getting rid of a bunch of them because they weren't very good. And getting rid of some clients because it wasn't a good fit. Got up to 50, hovered around 50. Fed went, Federico went and did his own thing. We kind of, separated and everything amicably. And I stayed with Argist Rentals. And I own 7 properties now. 7 properties, 50 under management. And like I said, I still have the day job. Super flexible. I take off whenever I want. I get a bunch of weeks of vacation on top of that. I could leave. I could leave. I reached a point a long time ago where I could step away and the business would support me and my family, which is great. But I haven't left yet. And here's some benefits to staying at a 9 to 5, especially if it's a flexible job. By the way, that a-hole boss got fired a long time ago, which is great. That was a great day. Everybody was so happy and we have better management there, that stuff like that. It's a better place to work. But he served his purpose. He really lit a fire under my ass to get the heck out of there because I just didn't want to be in that environment, in a toxic environment he was creating. So the a-hole boss, the asshole boss was a gift, motivated me to really, really put forth a lot of effort into the real estate game, into the Airbnb short-term rental game, and it put fuel on the fire, and I was able to, with the help of help of others. There's nothing you do by yourself. Help of my wife, help of family, help of friends, help of co-work, yeah, partners, to reach these goals in a quick amount of time because of the pressure of having an asshole boss and wanting to get out of that environment. Now the environment has improved a whole lot, but it really did, cause a higher trajectory, or whatever, however you say it. So there was a purpose to that. And I will say, like, if you're at a job you don't mind, I mean, of course, hop out if you hop out. If he was still there right now, I mean, I would probably, he got fired like 2 or 3 years ago. So I would have probably, if he's still around, I would have probably left about that same time too. I was just getting had enough of it. But anyway, that stayed. Um, and he's gone. So the benefits of a 9 to 5 day job, whatever it is, the shift you're on, are the benefits themselves. That's one thing. So you got the health insurance covered for you and your family, for a discounted price, I say, instead of buying in the open market out there. And work for an airline, flight benefits. That's a big one for me. We love to travel. Now we have more time. It could take off a lot more time at the job, and we could travel. Wife's family is in Mexico, so we go there a lot. You get the security of the paycheck. Let's say Airbnb just got banned everywhere 100%, which has happened in a lot of spots. But and then for some reason the real estate market crashes. I still got a job, at least I could lose everything and still have a job. Yeah, I could build everything back up, hit up the more hours, double shifts, overtime, all that stuff. It's there if I wanted it. It's just sitting there if I wanted it. Loans, getting loans for houses, that was a big deal. I was able to get loans because of my income from a W-2 and safe, secure job, going on there. Now it's over 20 years now. But so that helped a lot on the journey. I was able to pump out, get a lot of hours, save a down payment. Plus, they saw that I had a job that I've had for like almost 20 years at that point. And so the loans were a breeze. Time management, that was a big one because here's the thing, and it's funny because when I know that my shift is, say, 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. If I wake up at 4 a.m., I could do like an hour worth of work, about an hour's worth of work, hour and a half worth of work on my business, right? And so every morning I had to wake up, do whatever I needed to do for the business at that point, and then go to work my 8 hour shift. Lunch break, I do on my lunch break, I'd be working on my business on my lunch break. Grab I'd take a sandwich and chips. So it was my lunch. I didn't want to go out to lunch every day, because you're wasting time leaving the premises, and then you're wasting money because everything, spend 10 to 15 bucks on yourself for lunch break every day. You saving money in that regard. And then plus and the drive back. Whereas I just go to the break room, eat a quick sandwich, and hammer out, do some work on the business. So time management is great because I knew exactly what time I had to be at work. I knew when my lunch break was, and I knew when I was going to get off. I get off at 2:30, and I, go and hit up the rental properties or hit up the Airbnbs and do my thing, or even go home office, be there for a couple hours and work. So it helped me, block my time, I guess, because I had to, because those are the hours when I was working, and the other hours, those are the hours I can get things done. So I had to really, really schedule things appropriately, efficiently. Whereas when you start dabbling in the world of not going to work, like I said, if I only go to work 2 or 3 times a week, those days that I'm not working, which were regular working days, you got to be more vigilant about blocking your time, because you could just get lost in one little tedious thing, and then the next thing you know, 4 or 5 hours is gone. You're like, oh crap, I didn't get to the other thing. I didn't get to the important thing because I was working on this or whatever. So time management's huge. you got to learn to block your time whenever you don't have to clock in and clock out and lunch break and all that stuff. You got to learn how to do that for yourself manually. Getting out of the house, that was another benefit of the 9 to 5. Because I'll say that because when I'm not at the 9 to 5 job, I wake up, do a little exercise, a little coffee, maybe a little breakfast, and then I hit the computer. And I could be, there's so much stuff to do in a business that this size that, and then the podcast and everything, that you can get stuck, stuck in your office all day and forget like to go outside and look at the sun. And next thing you know, and then on the winter time, the days are shorter. So you're like, oh crap, I didn't even go outside the whole day. Um, a day job forces you to go outside and get some sunlight. That's a big thing. So yeah, you got to schedule that sunshine time. That even if it's not a lot of sunshine, get that walk going on. And a bonus is that I get to drop my when I'm here, I get to walk my daughter to school. My 6-year-old in the mornings. I get to walk her to school, and then afterwards we go pick her up. We get to walk to the school. It's right down the road, so it's a cool little experience that you get whenever you get to a level that that you could take days off, weekdays off. I have weekends off at work, but when you could take regular weekdays off, you get to do some cool things like that. And that was my whole plan. I wanted to house hop, house hack, all that done before my first me and Lupita's first daughter was starting school. Because I didn't want to keep doing it and then move her to different school, different school, different school. I just wanted to get to a point when she's like starting kindergarten. Okay, this is the house we're gonna stay at, and yeah, that's when I was gonna stop the house hacking thing. And then from that point on, I was gonna buy houses with a down payment with a 20%, or creative financing. We'll get to that in another episode. Anyway, so that's some of the benefits of being a 9 to 5preneur, having a 9 to 5 job, whatever shift you're on, and hustling and getting your real estate or your short-term rental business up and running. Of course, a lot of people listen to the show are short-term rental people. So it's not of course it's not nothing to be ashamed of, because a lot of people, back in the day when everything was going up, it was like, oh man, just get a couple houses, you're set. You don't need a job no more. You quit your job, burn the ships and all that. You don't need to keep that job because it's holding you back. I don't know. There's a lot of pros and cons to both, and so and it's not like it's well, you're having your cake and eating it too. You can't do that. No, you can do that. You can do that if you're doing it correctly. So that's all really I wanted to talk about today. I could go on and on. Here's the thing too. It, even it, I don't think it's a luxury anymore to have like a side hustle. I think it's pretty crucial because, I mean, anything can happen at that job, right? Like I said, an a-hole boss comes along, makes your life miserable. You can't just, a lot of people can't leave. They just got to sit there and take it because they've already got the McMansion or the cars or all these expenses and everything they got to pay for. So they can't leave. They're stuck. Whereas if this whole time you've been investing, in real estate or arbitrages or managing other people, having a side business of any sort, then you're like you could have that, take this job and shove it moment, right? You have that option. Not that you have to use it, but it's so much more comforting when you have that option, and you could laugh things off, and you could, and knowing that, hey, this guy that's treating me like crap every day, this boss or whoever it is, you know, I got 7 houses. I got over 50 properties under management. You kind of laugh things off because what do they got? They got a crap ton of debt. They're here like 14 hours every day harassing everybody and they're miserable. So I'm in a way better spot. And that's something to be proud of. That goes a long way. But and it helps to know you can fix the situation really quickly by leaving a toxic situation. You have the ability to leave a toxic situation. And so I would suggest, if you've been on the fence about starting your journey, uh start it, man. Start it. It's totally worth it. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity nowadays because you don't know if a job's going to go under. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. So, and a lot of people on this listening to this show are already on their journey, and I'm so happy for that. I'm so proud of all you guys, and I'm so grateful that you listen and you contribute and you give me phone calls and emails, and it makes me feel good that I can help in any way. And y'all have helped me a ton, and the guests that come on this show, they help me so much. They've helped me and my family on my journey because of just the connections and networking and what it's led to. So thank you so much for continuing to listen. This is a little Sunday morning edition I threw together, a little turn the mic on, see what happens. And 9-to-fivepreneur. I like the sound of that. Super Bowl Sunday. We'll see who's gonna win. I'm wearing red. Who knows who I'm going for. So you can find us at liveletthrive.com. There's a button on there if you want to be a guest on the show, or if you know someone that could be a great guest, send them our way. Liveletthrive@gmail.com to send us messages. Love, support, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. You keep us going. Thank you so much, and take care. Keep kicking butt.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.